Arsenal 1, Manchester United nil. And I gotta say, I was gonna make a reaction video right after this game, but my head was hot. I simply could not believe how Manchester United couldn't find a way to at least get a point out of this game at Old Trafford. Now, before I get into the performance, I am not one to blame referees for any result, whether it's a win or a loss. I very rarely like to look at a referee and say they were the reason that United dropped points. But please look at me and tell me how you can look at this exact play where Mateus Cunha is shielding the ball from William Saliba, gets nowhere near the ball, takes out his planted foot, and the referees can't even go and look at the VAR screen to even take a look at the potential that it's a foul. I'm not even going to talk about the foul or not foul on Altay Bayındır on Arsenal's goal. I don't really care about that. I personally think we could have been a bit stronger in our own box, but there are also some opinions that could have been a foul. But if it's not, fair. This one though, where Saliba gets nowhere near the ball, for me, I'm sorry, it's the best league in the world, the league that everybody wants to watch, continues to have the worst officiating in the entire world. How this is not given as a penalty, how it's not even looked at by the referee at the monitor, is an absolute disgrace. Now that I've stopped moaning about the referees and the non-calls, let's talk about the performance. First of all, I'm going to say Matthijs de Ligt, my man of the match. A lot of people saying, can he play in the middle of a three? I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He handled Victor Gyökeres for the entirety of the time that he was on the pitch. He didn't have a sniff. He was winning every aerial duel. He was very comfortable. Luke Shaw and Lenny Euro, I thought, were also very good. I made a preview to this game and I said, you know what? Luke Shaw might have some challenges if he ever gets isolated 1v1 against Bukayo Saka. I'm going to hold my hands up right now and say I was wrong. Luke Shaw was brilliant. Lenny Euro was brilliant. Casemiro in the midfield, you can tell his legs are going slowly. But I mean, there was a few times where he'd spray an absolute gorgeous pass to either a Bryan Mbeumo or Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes. There was one time where Odegaard tried to get in on his left foot and Casemiro opened up his body, made a brilliant tackle, and just sprayed a beautiful pass to Mbeumo, which actually created a 2v2 situation, which ended up in a corner kick. I thought Mason Mount looked lively. Again, he helps with the press. I wasn't the biggest fan of Bruno Fernandes today, and I think there were moments where he shined, even from the goal, the corner that Arsenal got from that goal was Bruno playing a wayward pass to Lenny Euro. I need to see a little bit more from Bruno. I thought even sometimes with his deliveries off of set pieces, it wasn't good enough. But I gotta say, although I am extremely frustrated at the fact that we've walked away from that game with 0 points, for me, Mateus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo showed exactly why they're going to be great signings for Manchester United. Most specifically, in my opinion, Mateus Cunha. The amount of times Mateus Cunha would drop into that pocket right in between where the midfield and the attack was and just drive forward. It's something that Manchester United have been crying out for a long, long time. A elite ball carrier. And they finally have it. I thought he was very unlucky not to score. Had a great chance where David Raya made a great save in a very tight angle. There was also one where he took on 5 Arsenal defenders. He actually beat them, but he didn't necessarily have the pace to burst away. And it was a pretty tame shot that David Raya didn't really have trouble saving. But I thought the front two showed again why they were brought in Mbeumo and Cunha, and I don't think they're going to have any troubles adapting to Ruben Amorim's style of play. It's just really frustrating. This one is very frustrating because if we as a collective played very poorly and we lost, then it is what it is. You can say the team didn't perform, whatever, but I just don't think that you can say that the team didn't perform. I thought we were the better team over the 90 minutes, and that doesn't mean anything because Arsenal walks away with the 3 points. But when you see the performances of Mateus Cunha, of Matthijs de Ligt, of Luke Shaw, Lenny Euro, I thought Bryan Mbeumo was good, especially towards the second half. Ahmad came on and looked very lively. I mean, Arsenal didn't even have a sniff aside from the corner, and I think that's why it's so frustrating. It's not the end of the world. A loss at home to start the season is obviously a tough pill to swallow. But there are a few things that I really need to understand when it comes to Ruben Amorim. You take off Casemiro, fine. His legs, you could see, were starting to go. There were gaps where Arsenal were looking dangerous in transition moments against United, I completely understood that substitution. But you're down a goal. Why on earth are you bringing on Manuel Ugarte instead of Kobe? I don't understand it. I back Ruben Amorim. I trust in him. I think we were the better team. I think we should have won today. If not, at least got a point. But you're chasing a game. Kobe, we know what he can do. We know the lines that he can break. We know how comfortable he is on the ball. When you're chasing a game, especially when Arsenal are starting to drop a little bit deeper into that block, you want a midfielder who's going to be able to dictate play. Get Bruno more towards the 18 and let Kobe try and break those lines. But no, we bring on Manuel Ugarte, needless foul after needless foul. There was a moment where he actually did a really good job of stepping out into midfield, winning the ball, and then he had Amad and Mbeumo on a 2v1 situation. I think it was against Lewis Skelly, and he just tries to shoot from 30 yards, and it ends up, I think, outside of Old Trafford. And there's going to be time for a tactical breakdown. Tomorrow, we're going to analyze the game. We're going to analyze where things were going well for United, and we are going to analyze where things weren't going so well for Man United. There is going to be time for that. Don't get me wrong. I just had to drop an instant reaction. And it's very hard for me personally to analyze these matches with a tactical hat on when, we all love Manchester United. I'm sure we're all upset at the fact that we lost this game. So I just wanted to come on here and drop my instant reaction. It wasn't so instant because I had to go for a walk before I made this video. My head was on Mars. I got to be completely honest. But I do think there are some positives to take from it. There are still some negatives. What were the positives? Again, some great performances from some individual players. And I think they're really starting to look comfortable in what Ruben Amorim is trying to do. I thought there were times even in build-up where we'd go long and Mbeumo and Cunha were linking up. There were a few times also where we'd build from a little bit deeper and we could play through them quite easily. I think the boys are really starting to get a grasp of what Ruben Amorim wants from this side. In saying that, though, I think it is clear as day that Manchester United have no excuse. They must go and sign a midfielder with whatever is remaining in the summer window. You didn't get your Carlos Baleba. Does that suck? Sure. But I don't care. That's not an excuse. Clearly, the funds are there. You knew Carlos Baleba was going to be an expensive player, but if Manchester United go the entirety of this window without bringing in a midfielder, it is an absolute joke, and it is going to be a lot of these reactions where we're not controlling midfield, the other team doesn't have a sniff, but because we don't have a player in that role to be able to dictate play, we're going to drop points. I was happy to see Benjamin Sesko get some minutes. There were a few times even just off the ball, watching him off the ball, I thought he made some good runs. It's going to take time for him to get up to speed with his new team. It's going to take time for him to get up to speed with the league. But I'm very excited to see a front three of Matheus Cunha, Bryan Mbeumo, and Benjamin Sesko. I think that's enough yapping for me. I want to hear what you all have to think in the comments down below. Were United good enough today to win? Did we at least deserve a draw? Or do you think we deserve to lose? Let me know. Do you think there are positives to take from this game, or is it all doom and gloom after an Old Trafford defeat match day 1 to Arsenal? Once again, I will be dropping an analysis video either tomorrow or Tuesday. We'll dive a little bit deeper into what was working for United, what wasn't working for United. But all I know is this already puts pressure. Going to Craven Cottage next week. Manchester United have to get 3 points. Let me know what you think. As always, hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. I'll chat to y'all again soon. Until next time, peace.